Welcome again to my tens and tens of friends. It is me, Teacher TJ. And if you are not one of my tens yet, subscribe because you're a 10. At the beginning of this episode, Mrs. Howard is singing happy birthday to her student, and she just really goes overboard with the song. She's hit the fourth verse, and the student looks at her and says, "Here we go again," because he already know. Okay, here she go with this song and all the extra. He's obviously tired of her doing too much at birthday song celebrations, and he just wants the song to end. I think we all know someone who does the most when it comes to the happy birthday songs. When someone singing begins to serenade the birthday person, and it turns into like 12 verses and then different renditions of the song. You have the Stevie Wonder verse, and then you have, yeah, it could become a lot, even, for the birthday person. If it's my birthday and someone's singing all of those verses, I really want you to stop, but I will continue to smile as if, yay. But I am really low key, so singing me 12 verses of happy birthday is not something that I want for myself. And I know everyone likes to do the 50 Cent Go Shorty It's Your Birthday, but yeah, it becomes a lot. I feel sometimes good singers like singing, so they make the birthday song about them more so than the birthday person. But I like to say, invite me to your show. I support, but to sing happy birthday like it is something that I really want or anyone want on their birthday. Mr. Eddie is trying to teach his first grade class, but his student Micah just keeps on interrupting. This kid has interrupted or disrupted class so much that all the other kids are to the point where they're over it. In the break room, Janine is making lunch for herself, and she keeps mentioning all of the jokes that Tariq would say about her cooking, and Barbara and Melissa are kind of like, girl, you don't have to repeat these jokes. They're really just insults. They're not funny. But Janine's lunch is pretty crappy, so much so that Melissa offers to teach her how to cook. Gregory vents to Jacob about the disruptive student, and Jacob can relate. Jacob's students call him Mr. C, and Mr. C stands for Mr. Corny. And I was wondering, like, Mr. Jacob Hill, where's the C come from? But apparently, it's because he's corny. And I think for Jacob to go along with that is where the disrespect is, like, okayed. And no, you're not going to call me corny, and I'm going to answer to it? I don't think so. Jacob tells Gregory to send his disruptive student to Ava, and Gregory considers it. Personally, I am so confused. Like, send your student to Ava? Like, what does she want to do? But maybe they're on to something that I don't know about, because she has been having her moments where she has been a responsible principal. Sometimes we just believe in people to do stuff. Like, I'm believing in you right now to go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can keep watching all of my reviews. Anyhow, if you did it, thank you. If not, what are you waiting for? Melissa teaches Janine how to cook, and we find out the reason that Melissa was not too fond of her sister, which was because she brought a dish to her family member's funeral, and the dish apparently had the wrong ingredients in it. Although Janine doesn't speak to her sister that much, she deemed it necessary to invite Melissa's sister to the cooking thing that they got going on. In Gregory's class, he's trying to teach, and Makai keeps being disruptive, so he go ahead and take her to Ava's office. He decides to take the student to the principal's office, and so he asks Janine to keep an eye on his class while he takes the student to the principal's office. If Janine tries to persuade him not to take the student to the principal's office, but he takes him anyway. and he finally gets to teach his class. When Ava brings him back, Gregory expects an apology, and Ava's basically like, apologize for what? And y'all, this is the most frustrating part of being a good teacher. To need support from the front office is one thing, so you'll go expecting to get some support, and then they all look at you and like, why are you here? Or like they don't want to be bothered with helping you. But it's not for the student to get stickers, because Makai actually came, I think his name is Makai, maybe it's Malachi, I don't know. But he came back to the classroom with stickers. Like, what? He just got sent to the principal office because he's in trouble. Why does he have stickers? And stuff like that is like, it makes the other kids be like, I want stickers, and maybe it might even make them start to misbehave, because they're like, we get stickers for misbehaving, so I gotta do what I gotta do. I once had Lucifer's spawn. Okay, maybe I shouldn't call that kid that, but he was not, he was a handful, okay? And like, this kid was violent, okay? And I would try everything: talking, timeouts, hugs, calming corners, happy essential oils, which happens to be orange or citrus essential oils. I tried music, snacks, a drink of water, one-on-one activities, talking to the parents, and none of it worked, okay? I was one to never go to the front office until one day this kid threw a milk and it busted my lip and drew blood. And I was like, what? I was pissed. I ain't gonna lie. So I took him to the front office, and this lady up front, she laughed at the fact that the kid had hurt me. This kid came back with stickers. With freaking stickers. Needless to say, that helped influence my decision to leave, because on what planet does the student get to abuse the teacher and get stickers for it? And it's like, okay, yep, I'm out. They try to offer me my own classroom. Nope, I don't want none of that. I'm out, because if I get my own classroom, y'all really not going to be looking forward to supporting me. And there's no way, if I'm not being abused by the children that I birthed, why would I go to work and let somebody abuse me? I'm not, no. So that was a promise that I made to myself, that once I open my center, I will for sure support my teachers if they have to bring their student to the front office. I understand that there's work going on in the front, and nobody has time for all the teachers to be bringing their students to the front office frequently. Like that would never work. But I will definitely find ways to support and train my teachers on how to deal with unruly kids. Because without support, these kids can be terrorists. But just as expected, Ava did not help the situation. She actually gave the kid a toy. And like I said, that made all the other kids want to go to the principal's office too. Story time. I had a student who wanted to stay home like all the time. Like, who don't want to stay home, right? His attendance wasn't that great to begin with. When he did come to school, this kid was terrible though, until he got sent home against our will, which the teachers was like, no, keep him here, because the fact of the matter is, if he knows if I misbehave, they're going to send me home. That was the end goal. Like, that's why I never understood suspending students, because okay, you was bad, get this free vacation? What? No, I don't send them home. Suspensions, I don't subscribe to that, because it only teaches, it's not a real consequence for an action. At least I don't think so. In a break room, Gregory realizes that Ava is not the answer. He also reflects on how he was disciplined as a child for doing childlike things.
It's an incredibly important part of a child's development. When I was a kid, if I did anything childlike, yell, run around, just generally have a zest for life, I would be put on timeout, and I would have to reckon with the fact that I had committed a failure of character. And that is how I became the well-adjusted man that stands before you today.
The way that some parents act like kids aren't kids is wild to me. Gregory speaks to Barbara and asks her to get Ava to do her job. He explains that my job is to teach, not to discipline, and Barbara agrees to talk to him. Gregory is in his class when he get a page over the intercom to come to the principal's office, and then all of the students teased him like, "Ooh, you went to the principal's office." The principal's office was not somewhere that most kids wanted to go. But I'm from a time where if you went to the principal's office, that meant that you were getting ready to get a SWAT. And a SWAT is like the kids today probably don't even know what a SWAT is or a paddle. But the principal would get a paddle. They tell you bend over, touch your toes, and pop you right on your behind. I'm trying to remember if I got a SWAT. I was a good kid, so I don't remember getting a SWAT ever, but I do remember being in the fourth grade. And just so happens the teacher that I had, both of my brothers had. Now, my oldest brother probably was a terror, in class, but my brother under him, RIP to my brother, but he was not a terror. So my mom began to get calls from the teacher, like, your kid is tripping out of school. And she would like question it, like, I don't know about that. Because you know your kids, but sometimes you don't know your kids. But she was like, okay. But then when I got that teacher and they tried to call her and tell her that I was misbehaving in school, she was like, nah. Okay, what's really up? And kind of find out Miss Jimenez was prejudiced from Washington Elementary. The funny thing is, you remember the teachers who you didn't like or you really liked. In between, you do not. Because I do remember having Miss Jimenez in the fourth grade, but I cannot tell you any other elementary school teacher. And then I do remember having, because we moved, Mr. Brown in the fourth grade, and I really liked Mr. Brown. Gregory explains to Ava that children are supposed to be afraid to go to the principal's office, and Ava let him know, I will be the principal in the way that I see fit. If you don't like it, then you should discipline your way. Meanwhile, Janine is back at Melissa's house for another cooking lesson. And per usual, Janine has inserted herself in someone else's business. Janine has set it up so that Melissa's sister, whom she doesn't like, comes to her house as if they are just going to run into each other's arms and hug or something, and then catch up on old times. But instead, as soon as they see each other, they start arguing. Back at school, Greg is trying to take matters into his own hands since Ava will not discipline the kids. He's working with Mr. Johnson and they're practicing on how to say, that is enough, in a deep tone voice. Real talk, those are some of my favorite words. That's enough. I'm not sure if this is intended to be a joke or not, but I do know that sometimes our voices is all that we have. I have personally mastered the art of getting kids to listen to me by just using my voice. Quite naturally, my voice is deeper than any typical girl, woman. And my mom told me a long time ago, before I ever even thought about being a teacher, kids respond to women who have deeper voices. I would definitely lower my voice when I'm trying to get the kids to listen to me, not in like a baritone type of way, but just, drop it a few octaves. And then I would say, that's enough. That's enough. And they'll listen to me. Every time I say it, I'll be wanting to laugh, but they take me so serious, and you got to stay in character. That's one thing about being a teacher. You really have to act. I also like saying you're tripping out, and they know, come on now, pull it together. You're tripping out. But I have a bunch of sayings. That's just some of my ones for now. I give my children things that I can take away, both at home and in my school, because sometimes that is the only way that you can get them to listen. I also may put the children in timeout so they can calm down and figure things out. If all else fails, I give my child care kids what I call the mom eye, and then use their name in a sentence sandwich where you would say something at the beginning of the sentence and then say their name and then say whatever else. and maybe a call get their attention, and then say their name, and then say what you need them to do. But one thing I would say for sure is when speaking to kids, you must be confident. If you go talking to kids like you don't know they're going to listen, I can tell you right now, they're not going to listen. I'm not saying be like evil or have a very strict tone, but when I say something to a kid, there is no doubt in my head that you're not going to do what I just asked you to do. And again, if you don't, there's consequences, be it timeout, be it take a toy away or what have you. But the next time, like for instance, when we go outside with newer kids, not my older ones now, but sometimes the kids don't want to come back inside, of course. Even after I've counted down, um, and let them know that, in 5 minutes we're going inside so that they know what to expect. Sometimes they still don't want to come inside. So one thing that I would do is be like, listen, if you don't go inside, you're not getting a popsicle. You cannot take away food from children, okay? But I can take away that popsicle, okay? If you don't, and sometimes it's the only way that they're going to listen, is to take something away. And I'll usually serve two things like popsicle and some fruit, or popsicle and some chips or whatever. So you might get one thing, but you're not, because I don't want to take everything. I don't want you to hate it here, but I do need you to understand, I mean business. If I say come inside, there could be an emergency. You know what I mean? We're outside. If I say go inside, it's time to go inside. And I don't need any pushback. I don't need any fight. I need you to listen. Go inside. It's time to go inside. Kids are really good at coming inside now, because if you say you're not going to get a popsicle, you don't give them a popsicle. And it might hurt. Oh God, you don't want to hear them cry. They're so cute. But I need you to listen to me. So you can have one tomorrow and I'll talk them through it. You can't have a popsicle today, but tomorrow when we go outside, just make sure that you come inside. And that usually works. Barbara goes to check on Gregory and she offers him some advice. She lets him know that children can either fear you or respect you. It's easier to get them to listen to you and be respectful if they like you. Janine sees Melissa and apologizes, and we find out it's deeper than just the food dishes with her and her sister. Melissa is upset with her sister because she didn't help take care of her sick Nana, and she brought some sort of trash dish to the funeral. So Melissa admitted that she did miss her though, but that's why she was actually mad at her. And she offered to give Janine more cooking lessons, but she told her to leave Jacob at home. Every time Jacob is invited, he talks too much. And it's not even good conversation. Back in Mr. Eddie's class, he's trying to teach when his student had another bluey outbreak, the issue that he wanted to send them to the principal's office, as he kept shouting out bluey things, or the bluey theme or something. I don't know. This is bluey. I think that's bluey. I don't know. To improvise, Gregory changed the lesson that they was learning to a Bluey inspired lesson, and that made the child focus more, and he was able to continue on with the lesson. And teachers, we all know we have to be creative in order to get a kid to learn something. Sometimes it is music, changing the lyrics to whatever we're learning about, or there may be a song to fit that lesson, or there may be an activity. So him changing the lesson to something Bluey inspired was a really great idea. One thing that I learned that is that if the lesson is interesting or something that the children can connect to, they will be more inspired to learn about it, and will probably learn more and will be more engaged with it. And in preschool, I've learned that the more we have activities or structured work, the less behaviors I have in a classroom. One thing to keep in mind is if scheduling your free time into your structured learning time in preschool. So while I know that children may have behaviors in class, I will definitely make sure that they have free time to play and that they are doing those learning activities throughout the day, one-on-one, group work, circle time, and so forth. And usually children will work. Well, at the end of the day's got to end. Shout out to Glorilla. No, but for real. At the end of the day, Mr. Eddie has paperwork that he has to give to Ava, and Ava tells him to take it to the principal's office to set it on her desk. While he's inside of her office, he sits at her desk, the principal desk. Because y'all know that's Mr. Eddie was supposed to be at that desk as the principal because he's way more qualified than Ava. But while he's sitting at the desk, he gets a phone call from his dad. And then the show ends. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and click subscribe. Now is a good time to do that. Bye, Tan. Although Janine doesn't speak to her sister that much, she deemed it necessary for Melissa. Well, she deemed it necessary to invite Melissa's sister student to the principal's office, and Janine tries to. She ought to be now. She was old. Well, I don't remember how old she was, but it's been a while, so she probably kicked the bucket by now. Janine running around playing like she's Todd, setting up a scheme to come with everybody with the bull, and her plan backfires. Janine has set it up so that Melissa's sister, sometimes I'll be like, that's enough. It's in a higher voice, but they understand sometimes I'll be like, why is my child watching Bluey? I think, is that Bluey? Barbara goes inside to talk to Gregory. No. Barbara goes to check on Gregory, and she lets him